I did not expect to be making a video like this early in the year. It's only the 20th of April. This is ridiculous. Stay tuned. Hi folks, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host Jerry Hansen. I just stepped out with my basket to go collect eggs. I found a nest of chicken eggs. I've got to collect those. I've got to collect other eggs that I find out and notice the turkeys laid an egg. So I'm going to be collecting them in my basket and putting them in the greenhouse and getting them ready to stuff in the incubator because I've got baby turkeys hatching. We're still waiting for other fowl to hatch. But notice this. We've got the wind blowing and we've got smoke filling the air. Yep, as you can see, it's hazy over there. It's smoky, and I think it's a slash burn that they were doing at this time of year, and there's slash burns going on all over the place. But the winds are picking it up and not only drawing out the surface of the terrain, the environment, it's also lack of rain and blowing and fanning those embers. So my wife is online checking right now to find out if this is a legitimate out of control fire. This is too early in the year. April 20th is what today is. Over here in Beatty, Oregon, east of us, they have a huge fire that went out of control. From what I understand, that fire was started by a slash burn that had happened. It died down. They thought it was out, but with the drying conditions and the winds that came up, kind of blew some underneath embers to life and started this huge raging forest fire over there in Beatty, Oregon. Now the Forest Service reminded us that if you're going to be doing some burning without permits and burning outside of the parameters of safe burn, you're responsible. You're liable. Bad deal. So that's why this year I have not burnt for 2 years because of the volatility of the environment. It's just not worth burning. We shred important stuff. I've got the chipper shredder I'll be putting back together, and we'll be chipping up bulk material as I gather them up and using the saw and just stacking up for firewood and cleaning up. I have spent years mitigating mitigating the environment around me, just clearing all the underbrush and the vegetation that is combustible, and created a really good defensible zone. Even in my garden, I have no control over the property next door. That's not my property. I can't do a thing with it. Legally, I can't even do a thing with it. But I can protect my property, and since the tall grasses and stuff comes right up to my fence line, I just put this corrugated roofing material along my fence on the important parts of it to try to keep the flames away from my structures, like my fence, for my garden, and then also my RVs. So I've had 3 crews come out, fire crews come out and look at my property, and they have all said that I have an excellent defensible zone here. In fact, the last crew that was just out here a couple weeks ago, they were removing some trees away from power lines that were servicing my land. And they told me this is such a great defensible area that they could probably set up a staging area here. And even my neighbors would thank me because my property is such well cared for that it creates a buffer, a fire buffer, to keep flames from blowing into them. Yeah, but if we got flames coming from the other way, I'm still protected because I've spent years clearing out underbrush, and then we've got metal roofs on all the buildings, all the outbuildings, and clearing out all combustibles away from all of the buildings. Trying my best to create that defensible zone. If you live rurally, it's a good idea to do, they recommend a 50-foot parameter. I did more than that. I put 100 foot around my property right up to my fence line. In fact, the whole area where all of my buildings are is primarily a 300-foot wide by 300-foot long area that I've completely cleared all the vegetation on the ground and thinned out the trees, and then also limbed up the trees to keep fire from coming in and then going up, reaching up to the lower branches and then cresting into the trees. That's dangerous when you get the fire start cresting and jumping across. It was just a few years ago I woke to the barn on fire, but luckily it was on fire in April, on Friday the 13th, and it was wet that year. So the footprint of the fire stayed within the footprint of the barn. It did get to one of the trees, so I just ran up there with a hose and sprayed out the fire on the trees and just kept it on just the footprint of the barn. So we lost the barn, we lost some livestock. It was sad. There's a crow up there with an egg in its mouth. Those dang little beasts. They're taking turkey eggs of the wild turkeys that are around here. It's just bad. A scoundrel. Part of the reason I'm putting the Scarecrow in the garden, Scarecrow. Heck, it's an epic Scarecrow. It's Bigfoot. Yeah, we're going to be putting him together. I'm waiting for one more component for my Scarecrow apparatus, and we're going to put him together. Stay tuned to that video. In the meantime, watch with us. Stay tuned to find out the updates on what's happening with this. This is, it's far enough away, but I want to remind you guys, I've lived up here for several years. My son is 33 years old. He is now, we moved up here when he was 3, so we've been up here 30 years. In that 30 years time, we have had no less than 3 wildfires within a 10-mile radius of the homestead every single year. And here we are coming up on fire season again. It seems dry this year. As dry as other years I remember, but this might be a little bit more volatile. I'm not sure what's going on, what's happening, because there are a lot of earth changes going on, and we'll see how this pans out. In the meantime, we're just going to be prepared and then do all I can to mitigate fire damage when it comes to my property. But if it's time to get the hell out of Dodge, you can better bet I'm getting out. Okay, update. That is a fire. It is out of control. It's about 100 acres right now, and geographically set kind of between the towns of Tiller, Oregon, and Milo Academy. It's a Seventh-day Adventist Academy. So that's where the fire is. It's not endangering any structures at this time, and it's far enough away from us. It's more than 10 miles from us, so we're going to be okay from this one. It's just disconcerting to see how volatile the climate and the environment is right now. Don't burn. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. We're up in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest here in southwestern Oregon. Yeah, according to the studies that showed, this geographic location right here has the highest concentration of wildfires per capita than any place in the United States. Some of my viewers misunderstood that from the last time I said that. They mentioned that California has the more wildfires, and they're absolutely right. California does have a lot of wildfires, but that's not what I said. California is a huge state. It covers a vast amount of area. There's a lot of open spaces down there, and there's a lot of idiots down there too that accidentally and on purpose set fires. But I am saying that geographically in this spot, in this, what, square mile area, not square mile, it's like 100 square miles, something, not 100 square miles. Anyway, this spot right here where I live, this little valley, and then stretching out 10 miles, 20 miles around us, has the highest density per capita of wildfires, because we get the lightning storms that come through here, and most all of our fires are sparked by lightning storms. One of them was sparked by a faulty power apparatus that was installed incorrectly. That was the big one on the other side of the mountain a couple of years ago. And one was caused by a guy mowing the fields when it was too dry, hit a rock, caused a spark, and that's all it took. It went up in flames. And then two of them were caused by, I'm gonna be kind here, an individual who deliberately set fires because they wanted to go up and harvest morel mushrooms after the burn, because it is understood that morels grow in burned out areas prolifically. That may be true, but to deliberately set fires so you can benefit, wrong. My neighbor got killed in one of those fires that he set. We had to evacuate from both of those fires he set. And by the way, they still have not caught him. That really irritates me. Anyway, stay tuned to more videos. You can do that by subscribing and clicking that bell icon. Give us a thumbs up, like the show, and also share our videos on your social media platforms. Hey, sharing our videos, especially with other homesteaders, will get their heads up so they can start now to mitigate fire danger. And also, don't burn. Please don't burn. It's really dry right now. Please don't burn. Shred it, then take it to the dump. That's the best I can ask. We'll see you guys. Be safe and always be kind. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go get some eggs.